Augers, yeah. Looks like I'm live there. Let's see. Looks like I'm live there. Let me make sure. Yeah. All right, I'm here. To the millions of adoring fans out there. Yeah. It's Friday, January 20th. Friday, January 20th, 2023. I am Joe Auger. It is 9 o'clock. I am your bundle of sunshine for the evening. I think I'm going to start using that as my sort of go-to name. I think it makes sense. You know, there's a good, reasonable expectation that when I come up here, I will be potentially grumpy or pissed off or whatever, tired. Much as I was like last night, I worked all day but felt the need to do a show because it's somehow helpful for sure. Today was sort of a half day for me as far as work goes, and then the rest of the day was working on, oxygen. Working on getting, baby steps toward getting back on my feet financially as best as I can, staving off the debt collectors a little bit further. Kind of, it's a day-to-day kind of battle, keeping the fortress gates from being breached, and keeping the heat on and keeping the cat fed, even though the little fucker won't eat what I give him lately. That little fucker would be Jack. That is, he's a little fucker, but he's my little fucker. Actually, I think he was just before I was about to start. He was like just pawing at me and like being very verbal. He's not the most verbal of cats for the most part. So when he's verbal, he means business, right? He's sulking right behind me here.
What? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I gave him food. I gave him a bunch of food. He is he's just not digging it. He's not having it. So I'm not sure what the dealie is with him. I mean, he eats enough dry food, so he is certainly not starving by any stretch. He's just either being finicky or. The last time this happened, he was suffering from like and this is apparently something that I was about to say Jack Russell's. No, that's a dog, dude. Maine Coon cats potentially can suffer from. This is for all you folks out there who have a Maine Coon cat potentially. That they can suffer from dry skin, like a shit. What is the just dry skin, just itchy dry skin. So if he's scratching at himself, but I haven't noticed a lot of like tufts of hair, and there's no bald spots at the moment. That was when I discovered it last year when that was happening. He had a big thing on his neck that had just gotten. It was basically a wound at that point. So that's when I realized it was a. So anyway, we put him on the prednisone. That seemed to help a lot. That was during the summer, and it being winter, don't know. So I don't know. I gotta get him. When the money is there and I can bring him in to get checked out, well, I'll do that when I. Otherwise, he's fine. Just being a little finicky and a little. He's being grumpy tonight because I think partially because I was playing with him earlier and he wanted for me to continue to play with him, and it's like, well, I got stuff to do. Anyway, that's been my day pretty much. Up here in the east in the northeast in New England, this is the minor weather report. A little bit of snow happened today, but it wasn't not impressive. Not impressive, New England. It's the oxygen levels. I start to talk. Yeah, no, it wasn't your normal garden variety New England snowfall. And I don't know, it's too warm or whatever. It's kind of pretty much turned to rain kind of thing. And I don't know. I mean, we're already pretty much, almost closing out of January without snow. I mean, like a real snowfall. Something that's going to make the traffic late, or something that's going to give us a snow day, or whatever. They're saying, however, though, next Wednesday potentially is a snow event. That would be really funny because that's the first day of classes, which would be perfect. It was just like first day of classes and we get snowed out. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Anyway, it's happened before, stuff like that. First day of classes where suddenly there's a big power outage or internet outage or whatever the hell it might be. So, the job search, should I say, the job search continues. I'm currently still, in my regular job, but I need to find something on the side. Just trying to find the side hustle that works. The side hustle, at this point it becomes like throwing spaghetti at the wall, just kind of seeing what sticks. Filled out an application there, just kind of daily looking at anything that might be potential. Weeding through the just rivers of fucking scam, phone messages and calls and emails from these concerns that are just like, oh my God, it's like, what have I gotten myself into? Yeah, so that and again, still kind of not. I'm kind of I'm not following through with what I was saying about selling instruments. I'm just sort of, my feet are not moving on that score, and at the moment, and I'm just like sort of bummed out that I have to do it. But I think I'd really just have to do it, So that's probably tomorrow potentially. If you come up here tomorrow and I'm crying. My eyes, metaphorically, my eyes out is because I probably sold my guitars. We'll see. But I need to infuse with money, so that's kind of where I'm at. So if you know of anybody that's got a little bit of extra money hanging around they don't really want, then hit me up. As much as I'm tempted to, I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter anyway soon for a project, but I'm tempted to do a Patreon kind of thing potentially as well. I've seen some folks be somehow able to do that, and you get a few people here and there being generous, and you try and give them something on the other end of that as an artist type. So I don't know, just throwing shit at the wall, man. God knows. I mean, I've really nothing to lose if it fails at this point, and I think that's been part of my problem. I haven't done enough of that. I haven't done enough of the flinging spaghetti at the wall for creative reasons or financial reasons or personal reasons or mental reasons, whatever you want to call it. I've allowed myself to just sort of sink into the chair, excuse me, for a long time, many years. And I think, it's sort of at this point, at this age, I think I'm just sort of, what's the, completely spacing out, rage at the dying of the light kind of thing. I think, Dylan Thomas, I'm just sort of potentially in that frame of reference in some way. Do I deep down really believe that things will change? That's a hard one. Again, I'm still a glass half empty kind of dude. You can't just sort of overnight suddenly decide, something, that glass is actually half full. Yeesh. That's a tall order. And but however, I'm willing to entertain the thought that in looking at the glass, that yes, one could say it's potentially half full. I've never even entertained it before, so that's a huge step for me. So, again, it goes towards the manifestation. Today was a slightly better day than yesterday. It was also a half day at work, so do the math of that, right? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. What was I going to say? Well, it went right the fuck out of my head. I know what I forgot to do today. I was supposed to pick up my prescriptions. I forgot, and it's not open tomorrow. So there you go. That's actually one thing I got to do. I got to switch over where my prescriptions are going because my current place sucks. So I am. So that's me in a nutshell. A 10-minute kind of update of things going on in my life. Excuse me. So actually, I'll add to that. So yesterday was it was a tiring week. It was a tiring day, but I did a show. So somehow, and I'm like, again, I'm gonna knock wood because we'll see what happens tonight. But I have had the longest run of good sleep. We're probably saying something to the effect of like, it was a little over a week. What was it? The 19th. So you were talking about a week and a few days. So like maybe it's like 10 days, something like that, 10 or 11 days of getting sleep at night. Crazy. Especially the past year has just been a nightmare as far as sleep goes. So I'm grateful for that, for sure. And, I'm trying to think, the only thing I can think is that it's connected somehow to my somewhat lessened caffeine intake, which is very possible. Which is weird, though, because I didn't have any more caffeine yesterday than I've been having the previous few days. So I have to think that it's somewhat stress involved as well. It has to be. So all that said, leading up to things, I started the evening not being able to get to sleep as normal. So I do the about an hour or so in bed just trying to fall asleep, and I can't fall asleep. So I get up about 12:30. I plop myself into the chair in the living room and put the feet up and heating pad on my chest, and then kind of veg out with the cat for an hour or two, depending, just to try to exhaust myself more than anything. So go back to sleep, and I do indeed fall back to sleep. However, so when I sleep well, I tend to dream well, which is also obviously a good thing. And I remember the dreams. A lot of them take the shape of the fairly innocuous and or repetitive dreams I've had all of my life, of being the roadie, being a live sound mixer, and can't find the microphones, trying to the band are ready to play and we're not set up, or whatever the typical high school types of things where it's the last day of classes. You have to find what room you're supposed to be taking your history test in, which is a class that you haven't attended at all this semester, and somehow you're supposed to test into it and not fail. Those kinds of dreams. We all have them. Mine again tend to take the more that shape of my vocation. Or what was my vocation. I don't know if I should talk about it in past tense or not. So anyway, this one was one of those sort of lucid but not pleasant dreams, and in the dream, I'm basically having a mental breakdown. I mean, believe me, I've had my share of those as well. So, but in the dream, and what's interesting is that in where I'm at, where the space that I'm in, it feels like it's like a cabin of some sort, or but my mother and my father are there, and their presence is there, but in the dream, and I think in the dream, I'm part of the reason why I'm upset is because they're there. So, and if I look at these dreams as being potentially, well, I want to say potentially realistic. It's like, well, my brain interpreted it as real as anything, as real as me talking to you like this, because that's how the nervous system in the brain works. It can't ascertain what is real or vividly imagined. It interprets it the exact same way. So, which in turn would mean that the reaction in your physical self will be similar, as a traumatic type of response, So in the dream, of what I can remember, it's like I'm angry. There's a certain amount of anger that I'm just angry in general, but them being there isn't helping. And at one point I am, and to be honest, this is an echo of real life, which I don't like about myself, but it is a thing where I'm I'm kind of pounding on a door and putting my fist through it. And I can hear my mother behind me or something, kind of yelling at me to stop, just to stop, but in a way that was sort of like really trying to make, like she's concerned more for me, and she's not concerned about the door, she's just concerned. And she's telling me to stop. So I do stop, and I sort of exhausted fall to the floor, just knees kind of buckle under me. And I just, the visceral feeling that my body was melting, or that it had turned completely to rubber and was just literally just this sort of amorphous thing, like, and like a very, I mean, if you want to look at it metaphorically, it's like, like a mask, like a, if you pull a mask off of your face and it kind of droops, with the gravity and all that, it's sort of like, that's the imagery I have, is that this outer shell was just on the floor, and my soul had been sucked out of it. So there was nothing left. Just this sort of outer, the outer shell. So I'm on the floor, and I have this image of like my father again, sort of being there and kind of standing over me, but not really. If I remember, I can't remember if he said something. He might have. I'm not really sure. But what I do remember, more above and beyond all that, is that I'm on the floor, and like, again, I'm kind of melted into the floor. My head, just I have my hands in my head, on my head, or my head in my hands, and my just forehead to the ground, and I just start to howl. And like a howl of existential pain that I don't believe I've done in real life. I've done some howling in my time. I wrote a song about it. I should probably try to play it tonight. But I'm like vomiting up like emotion, just like brown and darkness just comes out of my mouth, along with this unearthly pain, howl of existential ennui and pain. I mean, just like, but vivid as fuck. I mean, and I'm like I can feel it. I can feel it now. And I wake up from that one. I'm done with the howling, but I wake up. And I wake up exhausted. Like I wake up as if I just did that. And I have to like when you wake up from a nightmare like that, and you just are, there's a certain amount of shock involved, and I was shocked that particular set of pictures that was set in front of me. It was something else. I had to get up again just to get something to drink, go to the bathroom, whatever. But I had to take a minute, and then so I go, thankfully, back to sleep, and then proceed to have a dream that was the direct antithesis of that, which was more pleasurable, and I won't get into what it was, what in the dream it was, because it's a little weird, but still. But it was a lot less self-satisfying, shall we say. And otherwise, and then, I slept pretty much for the rest of the night or whatever, and just be fucking weird, man. And what was even stranger is I got to work this morning, and one of my colleagues was saying much the same. I was running late for work, and she was running late for work, and she had gotten in and saying, just having really bad nightmares last night. And I said, really? Because I did too. So I'm wondering out there, if of the millions of people that are online on Instagram and YouTube, anybody had, if anybody specifically had really bad nightmares last night. The kind of nightmare that will stay with you. Like, I'm not going to forget that one. There are some dreams and nightmares that I've had that have lingered forever, it seems. I don't just mean days. I mean, we're talking years, decades, depending. And this one was it was a catharsis that bordered on, I mean, if you want to say, I suppose it's like whatever John Lennon and Yoko were doing in the early 70s with the Primal Scream thing. I mean, that certainly could have been it, certain mommy and daddy were there. So I suppose that's as good a, metaphor or as anything. I took, though, their presence in the dream as being, and I've been trying to look at the things in a more sanguine way as best as I can, that, whatever visage of them comes to me in my dreams is going to be either a full representation of who they were or how they felt about themselves, in as much as that of how that I felt about them, because when they come to visit, or when anybody comes to visit, whether it's a family member or a friend or a celebrity or whatever it might be, those dreams tend to be fairly lucid. So I tend to believe that that's a real visitation. There have been more than one time. There's certain people that will come in my dreams, and I will be able to talk with them, like I'm talking to anybody else. I mean, and have a mini conversation. It's happened with a few friends of mine. It happened with David Bowie. Happened with Michael Nesmith. I'm gonna say, did it happen with Davy Jones? It might have. I don't think so. But I don't think it ever happened with Peter Tork. Or no, that's not true. I don't really remember now. See, certain dreams you don't remember, but whatever. Anyway, so their presence in it was more, I feel like, on some levels, and again, hard to say, this is all in my own head or not. It's something that I have to think or believe is maybe a thing. They were not the most effective parents. The situation is such where, they should not have really been together. And I was an accident, clearly. and at the time, you just didn't, you didn't terminate a pregnancy you might not have wanted. It was an accident, and that's it. Guess what? You take care of the child whether you want to or not. And to whatever degree there was care involved, well, I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm just saying that, if I know knowing myself and just getting a sense of like who they were, if they were anything like how I am right now, then, I got to try to give them a little bit of a break if I possibly can. They both were the victims of high amounts of PTSD, especially my father in the war. God knows it was never treated correctly. So it's sort of, I think that them, again, diverting. I have a lot to talk to my therapist about, basically, on the next visit. So I'm rehearsing it here. I think that, the thought process of them being in that dream is that potentially their spirit is looking down on my current situation, which is, difficult, challenging, all those things, and are trying to be helpful, but they really don't know what they're doing, in as much as, but they're trying. I'm gonna I want to go with that thought just because it's at least it's at least it's I don't want to say it's soothing because that's certainly not the word that comes to mind, but it's more just a more positive, sets things in a more positive light, even if it's something that isn't necessarily working, or if it's something that's there's more often than not, like, especially when my mother's in my dream, I'm screaming at her. Actually, I think I was screaming at her in the dream last night too, in anger. Usually it's some form of angry diatribe. When my father is there, it's indifference, which is probably worse, at least for his spirit. Trying not to. I don't want to besmirch those that have passed on, as much as I can. I'm not a good forgiver in that regard, and that's a that is an Achilles heel of mine. I don't forgive well. Which I'm aware of it. So I think it took me a while to be aware of it, but there's a lot of folks that in the past I feel have not done the best job they could have done by me, regarding me, or whatever. But I have to look at it that, like, well, maybe they tried and just couldn't. Now, I was an asshole when I was a kid, so God knows they had a lot to handle sometimes. Anyway, so that's my half-hour rant of things. So as usual, I'm gonna play some music as well. So for the millions of people out there. And hope that maybe a few more people come up. I mean, it's Friday. It's a Friday night. So I know I have friends that don't go out much, who are probably home on a Friday like I am. So that's why I'm doing this. To take a little bit of time just to kind of chill out, get my thoughts down on. I was about to say get my thoughts down on tape, but there's no tape involved now. But I'll probably always say that, since that was, clearly a thing before. I will. That's kind of where I'm at. I think, getting a little tired, I suppose. But, however, I am going to play. So one thing that's been happening, if you haven't been reading the news, and I've been, I cautiously have been reading what little news. Well, I was like, what little news? There's always news, but I try to limit what I'm, taking in. Like anything having to do with politics right now, just like nope, not doing it, not doing it. Again, until let me know when the check is going to arrive, or let me know when they're going to haul my shit off the jail, or if they're going to declare martial law, or when certain people are going to go to jail. That's all I want to know right now. That's all I give a shit about. I don't care about the minutia. I don't give a fuck about who is wearing what. I could care the fuck less about the morons that are up there that are playing politician, and no one is doing anything about it. So I choose to follow, my favorite artist types, creative types. I do find that Instagram, I find, is a good place as far as a social media thing. I clearly will never do Twitter again. They won't let me on anyway if I wanted to. Farcebook, I have 2 more days in jail. I think going forward, I'm just not going to bother commenting on anything, really. And if I'm going to comment, I've got to be more creative than just calling somebody a twat, because clearly the word twat is verboten in Farcebook language. God knows. Anyway, so that's Farcebook. But Instagram I like because you are getting a real kind of, assuming you're, say, following a certain, certain creative types, whether it's, actors, actresses, musicians, writers, whatever it might be, up on Instagram. And then, usually it's them. I've had more, I've had a number of folks that I've been able to chat with, celebrity types via Instagram, which took the place of Twitter, because Twitter I had at the time been able to do that, but kind of shifted over to Instagram, and it's kind of fun. It's good. It's less newsy. It's got news in it, and it's got but it's somehow it's easier to scroll by or whatever. And it's also it's easier to I can kind of custom make the feed a little bit, which is nice. So anyway, that's what I've been doing as far as social media goes. Still haven't gotten onto the TikTok craze yet. I don't know. I'm thinking I really should, because God knows, all I need is like one thing. Talk about a meme. They're talking about like at this point, almost 20-year-old meme of the dude, the Numa dance or whatever, where it's basically a kind of a heavyset weird dude with glasses, and he's just like being a lunatic on camera, lip syncing to this weird dance hit. A bazillion streams later, and I hope the guy made a ton of money from it. That's all I hope. Anyway, so TikTok, I don't know, man. Maybe I need to fucking I need to do something. I need a thing, man. I need something to go viral to get me out of this fucking doldrum of financial hell. And who knows? Put it this way. I'm open to it. I'm trying to be open to things that I might not have been open to before because of age. I don't know. Age doesn't, at this point, well, I was going to say age doesn't mean anything, but that's horseshit, because my knees would beg to differ. That's for sure. Let me make sure I'm not going to run over my cat's tail here. A couple of times he'll be right in back of the chair and will potentially make it so that I run over his tail. I don't want to do that. All right. Is he even in here? No, he's not even in here. Let's see. And I am wearing an in-your-ear, if you can see that, in-your-ear records t-shirt or sweatshirt. So one thing that's weird, odd, whatever. So in the current pop culture stream of things, this year being 2023 is the official. It'll be March 9th, I want to say it is, or something like that. Is officially the 50th anniversary of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which for those of you who are, prog rock fans or Floyd fans or, that kind of thing, is a pretty significant milestone, I think, safe to say. And so it's, I figured, and what's, of course, one of the issues, apart from them, so they're going to be reissuing the record in a new box set, 50th anniversary box set with some different mixes and this and that. It's like another box set. I don't know if I'm going to buy the box set. It's not. It's all it is a remaster. So I'm not sure. And it's what I'm wondering is it a remaster of the original mixes, or is it a remaster of the remix that happened back 10 years or 15 years ago or whatever the hell it was, so it's one of those ones where it's sort of like, it's good, it would be nice to have, but I'm trying to get out of the thing. I'm trying to get out of the mindset of it. It would be nice to have, because that's part of what's gotten me into all this financial trouble. That thing that I want, So basically, they're re-releasing this thing, and we're seeing online, of course, because it's social media, and there's a large contingent of people on social media who, let alone, should never be allowed to have a phone, as considering they can probably barely tie their own fucking shoes. The new logo, there's like a new 50th anniversary logo of Dark Side of the Moon, which is a it's like a it incorporates the the prism, the triangle, with a 5-0. I think it was like 5-0, and then the triangle is kind of in the 0, and in the triangle is the spectrum of light, which is what the original record sleeve was, which is the light hitting the prism, and then it splits off into its light elements. That's all it is, right? So of course, you got morons trying to politicize it, saying, "Oh, what are they trying to do? Oh, I'm never listening to Pink Floyd again." And you know what it is? It's because somehow they're thinking it's like some sort of woke, virtue signaling that Pink Floyd are, they're they're part of the gay agenda now because they've got a rainbow triangle in this new thing. It's like this is why I'm in Farcebook jail, is because of morons like that. See what I'm saying? I would get arrested, I think. If one of these morons were ever to be in my sight, I would just go ballistic. And I don't mean physically. Oh God, it's just like the stupidity burns, That's one of the reasons why I can't read news or be a part of it, because it's just too fucking stupid. I don't know. I can't fathom that level of stupidity. Look, I'm no paragon. I'm no fucking genius. I'm certainly no Rhodes Scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but like it's the whole Dunning-Kruger thing. I know enough to know what I don't know, or what I'm not able to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to try and think that I'm ever going to be a good brain surgeon, because I'm not, or even a car mechanic or something. I'm just not. I know what I'm pretty good at, and even then, I wonder, and I have my doubts. Considering I can't make a fucking lick of money off of it, as to how potentially talented I might be, or musically, or whatever. I don't think it matters really, but there you go. But these people are fucking stupid. I'm just gonna put it out there. They're fucking stupid. So on that note, and in that in that spirit, then I'll dedicate this to all of the members of Pink Floyd, those that are still with us and those that are not. Obviously, specifically Rick Wright and Sid Barrett are not with us any longer. However, we do still have Roger Waters, David Gilmour, and Nick Mason, who are, still ushering things through in their own fractured way, and this the irony is not lost on me in that regard. Anyway, so I'm going to play a few things from that record just because I kind of can, and they're sort of easy enough to play pretty much. All right, so I'm not gonna play the whole thing because that would be I'm not with my friend Mark Carter, who would be able to do all the sound effectsy things. So I'm just gonna play and see what happens. It's either gonna be cool enough or it's not. I'm just fucking around here. Fucked it up. I'm gonna do it again. Biggest wave, you race toward an early grave. the whole on the run. Anyway, so the next one. This one starts percussively.
Taking away the moments that make up a dull day. Afraid to waste the hours in an offhand way. Kicking around on a piece of ground in your hometown. Waiting for someone or something to show you the way. Come
I am not going to even try to do The Great Gig in the Sky. Still potentially one of the more sublime pieces of music ever made. So this is one that I would normally do with my friend Mark from the Silhouette Opera Company. And this is the end of that album.
touch, all that you see, all that you taste, all you feel, and all that you love, and all that you hate, all you distrust, all you save, and all that you give, and all that you deal, all that you buy, beg, borrow, or steal, and all you create, and all you destroy, all that you do, and all that you say, and all that you eat, and everyone you meet, and all that you slight, and everyone you fight, and all that is now, and all that is gone, and all that's to come, and everything under the sun is in tune, but the sun is eclipsed by the moon. There is no dark side of the moon, really. Matter of fact, it's all dark. Yeah. Happy birthday, dark side of the moon. Trying to think where the hell I was. 50 years ago, 1973, well, I would have been, well, with my family, obviously, and I was living in, for part of the time, I think the first half of the year, I want to say was, or was it the first, I don't remember, I don't remember, well, so part of the year, I think, was in either Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and then the rest of the year was in Millbury, which was part of Worcester, Massachusetts, in a house in the woods. I remember it well. Haunted house, I think. Yeah, that would have been 1973. So it's interesting that, and then the year set 1974 happened, and then that was where, for me, that was the pivot and or fulcrum of being young to being then the next stage. For me, it was 1974. Because that's when I started to be really cognizant of many things. For good or bad. Let's see. I'll do a couple more. Just mainly because there's literally nobody up here, so, Let's see. I did say, I was like, I should do that song. The song "The Howling." I need to. That would be one I would need to work on before I do anything, or bring that out into the light, into the just yeah. Sorry, guys. No, I'm not going to do that one. That's a hard one to do, especially at the end. Let's see. Could end it off. I guess if we're going to end it off with something
you know, commemorating Pink Floyd and or its denizens, I think this it would be a good one to maybe go or off with, if that makes sense. This is a song by Syd Barrett, who was basically well, he pretty much birthed Pink Floyd, and as such, that particular thing was a trial for him, and created a PTSD that he never fully recovered from. I think so. This is one of his that he recorded after he had left Pink Floyd, and then released many years later. And this is actually a song that'll be on a covers album that I'm going to be doing soon, or I'm going to be finishing soon, hopefully. Anyway, let's see if I can do this right. On a distant shore, miles from land, stands the ebony totem in ebony sand, a dream in a mist of gray. On a far distant shore, the pebble that stood alone, lies half buried, warm shallow water, sweet shells, so the bubbles shine. A bare winding Auger stark shimmers as flies scoop up meat, way dry. Ideas. Crisp flax squeaks, tall reeds make a circle of gray in a summer way around man, stood on ground. I am trying. I'm trying to give as well. So on that note, I'm going to play my outro song as I'm giving, as I give every time I do this. I sing this song because it's perspective time. It's about perspective that we all need on a day-to-day basis. So just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour. It's orbiting at 19 miles a second, so it's reckoned a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day in an outer spiral arm at 40,000 miles an hour of the galaxy we call the Milky Way. Our galaxy itself contains 100 billion stars. It's 100,000 light years side to side. It bulges in the middle 16,000 light years thick, but out by us it's just 3,000 light years wide. With 30,000 light years from galactic central point, we go round every 200 million years. And our galaxy is one of only millions and billions in this amazing and expanding universe. The universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all of the directions it can whiz. As fast as it can go at the speed of light, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember, when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth. And pray that there's intelligent life somewhere up in space, 'cause there's bugger all down here on Earth. As much as that might be true, present company accepted. All right. On that note, I'm going to call it a night. Go hang out with the cat since he's wanting me to do that. And but I will be back tomorrow night, Saturday night. So if you're not doing nothing, if you want to come and hang out and just watch me shoot the shit, come say hey. If you want to say hey, it seems to be that I get more people just kind of hovering. I get people hovering around or lurking a bit, and that's fine. I don't care. That's how it used to be at the open mic. Sometimes there'd be not a lot of people there, or even if there were, sometimes they'd be attentive or not. It didn't matter to me. I don't care. But if you're wafting in and out, that's fine as well. So I'm gonna be here. That's the idea anyway. I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be here Sunday, and then I'm not gonna go think beyond that because it's the weekend. So tomorrow night, 8:00, same time, same place, same microphone. Same Christmas lights that I haven't taken off my microphone stand yet. And
and we'll talk about some more perspective about things, because that's what I talk about. I tend to talk about perspective and existentialism, and how my day is going. But how's your day going? I hope your day has been okay. And then on that note, I'm gonna leave it there, and have a good night, everybody.